Tonight, with just 10 days until Election Day, our reporters are tracking voter sentiment and key candidate promises. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Elia Batul. With just weeks left until Election Day, the federal leaders are making big claims. The leaders took the stage for their first English language debate last night. Liberal leader Mark Carney debates his plan to tackle the housing crisis, while Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre blamed him for rising prices and the cost of living. New Democratic Party's Jagmeet Singh is pushing hard on healthcare and corporate greed, calling out both parties. The Greens have reaffirmed their commitment to climate action, while the bloc is mainly focused on Quebec. Critics called the debate fiery with sharp exchanges and few clear answers. Advanced polling has started today, and Canadians can start casting their vote this weekend. Voting runs April 18th to 21st from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. local time. Voters must go to their assigned polling station and bring proper ID. Canadians can also vote early at any Elections Canada office by Tuesday, April 22nd, or by mail. For polling locations or ID details, visit elections.ca. The Liberals hold an 8-point lead over the Conservatives as the federal election campaign enters its final stretch. A Nanos poll ending April 17th puts the Liberals at 45%, Conservatives at 37%, and the NDP trailing at 8%. Regionally, the Liberals lead in Ontario, Quebec, Atlantic Canada, and British Columbia. The Conservatives, on the other hand, dominate the prairies. The data shows Mark Carney is also the preferred Prime Minister, leading Pierre Poilievre by 14 points. The Liberals are especially strong among women and older voters, while support among younger men is tightening. As Election Day nears, researchers warn that over a quarter of Canadians are seeing more sophisticated and polarizing fake political content online. Despite Meta's ban on sharing Canadian news, many still rely on Facebook for election updates. The news often comes from unreliable or fraudulent sources. A new report is raising alarm over the rise of scam ads mimicking real news outlets. Canada's intelligence agency is also monitoring for foreign interference, naming China, Russia, and Iran as top concerns. Now a look at what is the latest in the political sphere.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to GTA Muslims Today. Today I'm here with NDP candidate Bushra Asghar. We're going to be asking her about some of the pressing questions that voters have. Thank you so much for taking out the time to be here with us today. To start off, can you tell us a little bit about why we're here today, what this event is all about, and what's going to be happening throughout the evening?
Absolutely. So today our campaign is hosting an event on community safety where we're flipping the script on crimes in the suburbs. So really talking about a lot of the crimes that are constantly happening in our community but go underreported, specifically hate crimes, crimes against the minority space. Things like break and enters and like auto theft. Of course, they've increased in rates across the suburbs, and of course have there needs to be a response to those, and to the point where they become a national issue, right? But something else that constituents of the suburbs also face are hate crimes, which have also gone up increasingly in the last 2 years, and that is not something that has gained the same level of recognition or response. And so that's kind of the conversation that we're going to be having today with folks from different communities. So we have a writer named Eric Shatosky from Spring Magazine, and he talks a lot about prisoners' rights and rights on these things with Spring Magazine. We have another speaker named Karanveer Singh, who's an organizer with Justice for Truck Drivers, which is a group of truck drivers that have experienced wage theft as migrants in Canada, sometimes up to $70,000, where they haven't been paid their wages for years on end, and they've followed the process through the labor courts and still haven't been able to get that money. And so we're going to be having those sort of critical conversations on what crime actually looks like for everyday working people.
So you spoke about crime. What are some of the other issues as you've been canvassing the last few days, last few weeks, as you've been talking to voters? What are some of the other issues that voters are facing or talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I've talked to probably like 1,000 people so far in the last couple of weeks, if not more. And I would say that, affordability is a huge thing. It's one of the reasons why I'm running, because in my day job, when I'm not running in the election, I pressure the federal government to create jobs for young people that are paid at a living wage. And, in Canada, we're dealing with a decade high youth unemployment, which the response to which has been very slow, and it hasn't been at the scale that's required. I've worked with young people for the last 10 years, and it's really jarring. A lot of folks are expected to work for free for 4 to 5 years after having multiple degrees, and that just shouldn't be the case. What I've seen from the federal government, specifically the Liberal government, is that they've actually blamed the crisis of the lack of jobs in the job market and the lack of housing onto international students, which oftentimes, what I say is that I'm not fighting for those same jobs or the same housing as someone who has 2 degrees or 10 years of work experience, right? But it's just easy to get that rhetoric pulled into media, which is honestly we should be very careful of it, right? Because it breeds racism, it breeds bigotry, all the things that we're going to be talking about today. So affordability is a huge thing. A lot of people, their rents haven't decreased, their wages have stagnated, their bills have continued to skyrocket. And some of the conversations that I'm having at the door is about how our campaign is grassroots. It's run by small donations, and we have no corporations backing us, right? Unlike some of the major parties, when you actually do a little bit of research, you look at who is backing what, and that's scary, right? Your everyday bill is not going to be brought down if folks like Gail and Weston are backing your political party that then gets a majority in government. So those are one of the conversations that I've been having. And then I would say specifically with the Muslim community, we've been talking about Islamophobia, which is going to be something that we talk about in this event. It's something that I really care about as someone that identifies as a Canadian Muslim. I grew up in Saga, and I remember 2015. I remember Stephen Harper's government, right? It was extremely Islamophobic. There were multiple, there were even attempts to strip Muslims of their citizenship, right? And so all of those things, I think we should be really cognizant of. I think folks' memories, like the public's political memory is really small. So you have to you have to bring that up and remind people of what these parties have done historically for community or what they haven't done.
Yeah, so building on that, what are some of the things that your party is planning to do to combat that rise of Islamophobia that we've been seeing, unfortunately?
Yeah, honestly, I'm here as a local MP. I'm not, I think the party slowly drifts their campaign platform, but I think it's so important to elect a local champion, right? That's what I've been saying to folks at the door. At the end of the day, when you're in a crisis, you're not going to call the leader of your party. You're going to call your local MP. And so you need to make sure that person can actually the person will actually respond to your call, will actually listen to your problems and do crisis control. I've spent the last 10 years doing anti-harassment work on college campuses, from doing sexual misconduct work to anti-racism work. So this is something that I really care about, and that's what I'm bringing into my campaign to run through. And another key part of this campaign is that I'm the only candidate in this riding that has taken a principled stance against the war in Palestine. And it's actually one of the key motivations as to why I decided to run in this election. We're watching our communities get massacred abroad, and there seems to be very little accountability and honestly outright lies by the governing party. And so this campaign is powered by movements. It's powered by people that have been organizing on this cause for years now. And we see that. We see that in the events that we're hosting, the gatherings we're doing, the doors that we're knocking.
Amazing. That's really refreshing to hear. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the Muslim community as they prepare to go out and vote in the upcoming weeks?
Yeah, I would say my favorite thing about being Muslim is that my faith is grounded in a social justice oriented framework. I think Islam gives us that. It gives me that footing, that moral compass. And that is why I'm driven to work on these issues and vote with your conscience and your values at the polls. It is a scary time, and there's a lot of like fear-based campaigning happening right now. And yeah, we need to make sure that we elect a government that believes in our dignity as a group of people.
Amazing. Thank you so much once again for taking the time to talk to us, to speak to voters and the Muslim community. I'm Sakina Ghayyur from GTA Muslims Today.
That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News Canada. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.